Everything He asks me to do, I do them. Now, how can you hear from me? How can you hear from God? The first thing to take note for you to hear from me, you must have a relationship with Him. Psalm 91 verse 1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. You must have a relationship with Him that is a solid relationship, a solid foundation relationship with your Maker. How can you hear from me? We talked about who are those who can hear from God. Now we are talking about how can you hear from me? How can you hear from God? Number 2, you must have a hunger and a thirst for God. You must have a hunger and thirst for God. Matthew 5. Matthew 5 verse 6. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. You must have a hunger and a thirst for God. Psalms 42 verse 1. As the hart panted after the water brook, so panted my soul after thee, O God. That's the psalmist. Number 3, read and study the Word of God. You can't do without that. If you truly want to hear from God, you must study. You must study the Word of God. It is the place of study that Holy Spirit gave me a revelation. Romans chapter 8 must be my daily routine. That is, I must study it daily. That's the reason why I find it so easier for me to quote any scriptures from that very verses, from that very chapter. Read and study the Word of God. 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 15. Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that's needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Number 4, position yourself still before your God, just like Samuel did in our Bible reading. Position yourself still before your Maker. How to hear from God. Number 5, be open, because God can speak in diverse ways. You must be open to Him, because He speaks in diverse ways. God can speak through revelation. He can speak through dreams. He can speak even through your pastor. Be open, because God can speak in diverse ways. Number 6, how to hear from God. If you truly want to hear from me, through prayer and fasting. Through prayer and fasting. I will quickly read the scriptures. Mark chapter 9. I just want us to understand this. I'll read from verse 17. And one of the multitude answered and said, Master, I have brought unto thee my son, which hath a dumb spirit, and wheresoever he taketh him, he teareth him, and he foameth, and gnasheth with his teeth, and pineth away. And I spake to thy disciples that they should cast him out, and they could not. He answereth him and saith, O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him unto him. Now if we move into verse 29, and Jesus said unto them, This kind can come forth by nothing, but by prayer and fasting. If you really want to do signs and wonders, if you truly want to hear from God, what's the Lord saying? You can't just be living a carnal Christian life. You must be spiritually minded. Men ought always to pray and not to faint. The Bible even makes us to understand, pray without ceasing. Matthew 4, if you should read from verses 1, Jesus went on. He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. And the Spirit of the living God led him into the desert. It was when he fasted and prayed, and the devil came to tempt him. If you truly want to hear from God, you must pray and you must fast. In conclusion, the life of a believer becomes easier when they hear from God. I use my dad in the Lord as an example. Pastor Adeboye. That man is so humble in nature, full of humility.